Hi, I wanted to relay a story to you. I have one of my cars has had problems with the valves, the air valves on the tires. The tires don't have any holes in them, but some of them lose air from the valves. Slow, like a slow leak. So every so many days, I have to add air to my tires. So I haven't gotten around to actually getting the valves replaced yet, but whatever. It's not a big effort to put air in the tires every so many days. So I had a small air pump from my dad. He gave me a long time ago, and it finally, it died. It gave out. They don't last forever. So I was looking around for something else. So I went on Amazon and I ordered another small handheld electric pump. And it literally lasts like a month, maybe a little over a month, and it burned out. That aggravates me when that happens because you expect something to last more than a month or two or three or even six, right? But these are cheap, made in China, everything now. It doesn't matter what brand it is. I'm in the USA. One of the old brands that people always trusted was like Sears Craftsman or stuff like that. Cobalt, these brands. Well, with these pumps, the innards are still just crappy made in China parts. And I dare you as well, go up to Amazon and look up any of these small handheld electric tire pumps that people normally use for adding air to their car tires and look through the reviews. Sometimes it works right away and people give a positive review. They rush up there to give a review. I don't do that. I wait. So, and like I said, if I would have done a review based on the first week or two that I had it, it would have been a glowing review. It worked really nice. It was a nice little lightweight thing you could fit under the back seat and pull it out when you need it, plug it in, and boom, it would pump the tire up. It would add the air to the tire. It even stopped when it hit the right pressure that you set it for. It was nice. It had a little light on it, so you could do this in the dark if it was dark. So it seemed like a quality product. So anyway, if you look at the reviews on Amazon, you will look at the poor reviews first. You can easily find them. You will find almost every, or probably every item in this class, same thing. Burns out after a month or two or three. It depends how often you use it. I probably used it a little more often than most people would use something like this. A lot of people would get something like this, throw it under their back seat or in the cargo bay or the trunk, whatever, and they would, maybe use it once a year, and for that, it might it might last. But anybody who uses it with any frequency, it's going to burn out. And that's what you see with these reviews. And it's so frustrating because I'm like, where am I going to get a pump? Do I really have to go spend, multiple hundreds of dollars on a big compressor, like the kind with the tank, the big heavy kind, which takes up a lot of space. You can't really keep it in your car. It's more a garage item. So anyway, I was frustrated. I was like, where am I going to get a pump that's not going to burn out in a month or so? So I said, wow. My father passed away a few years ago, and he always had lots of tools. But he gave a lot away, especially as leading up to the time he died. My parents moved, and he gave a lot of stuff away to people he knew. And I was a little frustrated, saying, I could use some of that stuff. But I remember when I was a kid, or late teen, early 20s, when I still lived at home with them, he had this compressor. And it was like a belt-driven. It had wheels on it, two wheels with a handle, and it was a nice size compressor. And this thing, you could pump stuff up with it. You could use it with air tools if you wanted to, that sort of thing. But to buy something like that now, not cheap. So I just said, I really wish I had Dad's old compressor. So fast forward a day or two, I was talking to my mother on the phone about something, and I just randomly told her, I said, "Did you believe that stupid pump I have burned out, and there's nothing out there that's worth buying? I don't know what I'm going to buy for this thing." I'd forgotten already about Dad's old one. So she goes, I have a pump in my garage. Go check it out. You know the garage code because she's in Florida right now. So I said, okay, Ma, I don't know, whatever. So I go over there, and in the back corner is this this old compressor pump thing, the one I used decades ago. And, you know, so she told me to take it. I loaded it into the back of the vehicle. It's a heavy thing, made in America. It's American made. It's decades old. I don't even know how old it is. I mean, it looked like it was a little old back in the late 80s, early 1990s. So I don't know how old it is, but it's American made. It's not some Chinese thing, it's made in America, which you can't find too many things that are made in America anymore. Even if they're assembled in America, they're usually from foreign parts, right? This thing is a pure American made, old fashioned product. And I mean, the only thing that really go wrong with it, other than rusting out, and it seems to be in good condition, is it's belt driven. But so anyway, I take it home, I plug it in, and this thing starts up. And man, the sound on this thing, it just brought back memories. I haven't heard that sound in decades. And, is this a manifestation story? I mean, you're manifesting everything. You are literally manifesting everything in your life. So I manifested this pump decades ago, and I remanifested it, I guess you could say, to reappear in my life now when I needed it. Now, some people will say, "Oh, what do you mean? It was your father's. Your mother still had it. It never went anywhere, even though you might have forgotten about it." Yeah, all that's true to a certain extent. But, I had totally forgotten about this thing. It was completely out of my conscious thoughts, completely. And it was just that it came to me, and I was like, I wish I had that old thing. And then in the same thought, I said to myself, I'm sure he gave it away to somebody, because there's so much that he had that they don't have anymore. And there it was, waiting for me to pick it up. So, I mean, you could make of that what you will. Depending on what angle you come at this stuff from, you can rationalize it any way you want. But if you know about this stuff and you accept a certain way what we call reality really operates, how it really operates, then you will know that everything is manifested from the beginning, even when you're not doing conscious manifestation. And sometimes a mere wish or a thought, you spend a few seconds visualizing something, as I did. I didn't just think about it and say it and name the item, but I thought about it. Now, I forgot what color it was, so I couldn't visualize a color, but I remembered that it had a tank and it had a belt driven and a handle and wheels on it. That part I remember. I just couldn't remember what color it was. When I finally got it, I was like, oh, wow, that's what color it is. So, and then, the rest of it came flooding back to me. So, I just wanted to relay that story, that it's amazing how things can work out sometimes just from, a need for something, and then like a random kind of thought, related but random thought that pops into your consciousness, and then boom, it remanifests, even if it's something, you used to have, right? It remanifests in your experience. And long story short, the thing works great. It pumps up a tire from completely flat. I let the tire go flat completely so I could see how long it literally takes like not even a minute to pump this thing up past the pressure where you even need it to be. It's so fast because it's so powerful compared to those handheld things that would take just to go 10 pounds in PSI pressure would take, minutes and minutes. You're sitting there waiting. I was scrolling on my phone waiting for the thing to go off when I hit the right pressure. This one here, this is more of a manual thing, right? You have to hold, it's like you have to hold it to the tire valve. And I picked up a handheld pressure gauge so I could check the pressure on the tire when I'm done. Those other ones can actually tell you the pressure and they will stop at the pressure. They're a little more convenient in some ways, but they do take a lot longer. And like I said, they're cheaply made and the mechanisms burn out if you put them under any kind of stress or any kind of extended use. So they're really useless if they're going to burn out in a month, right? So this old-fashioned thing that's been around for decades, and again, I have no idea how old it is, but it's decades. I mean, it's been decades since I've seen it and last used it, and it wasn't new then. It was probably a few decades old then. So, I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know, 60 years old at a minimum. It must be at least 60 years old at a minimum because it had to be like, or 50 years old, but it had to be like 35, 40 years old when I remember using it. And even then, it didn't look new. That much I remember. I remember that it did not look new then. It was kind of a little dusty, a little old looking, but works well. And all these decades later, the thing fires right, it's electric. You plug it in and boom, it just, you close the valve on the bottom, you wait just a few minutes for it to get some air into its own tank, and then you could start pumping something up. Beautiful. And I'm sure you could use power tools with this thing, like pneumatic power tools, because that's what people use these things for a lot of. They use them to power air-powered tools and things. But pumping up a tire is like child's play for this thing. So anyway, I just wanted to relay that story of how funny little things can pop into your consciousness and manifest. And, it's not always about, the winning lottery ticket or the this, that, the other thing. People on YouTube, they like to, they like to search for things about getting rich and stuff like that. And a lot of the content creators, of course, are going to create content around that because a lot of people just gravitate towards that. But, I find these everyday types of things to be sometimes a little more interesting and a little more telling about the power that we really have, and that it can be useful for many, many things, not just, one set of outcomes that people generally look for. So anyway, I hope this is useful. I haven't done a video in a while. I just prefer to do this voice only, and I'll put it to some sort of a graphic or something. You only really need to hear my voice to get what I'm saying. And I'll try to create some more content. I created a lot of Neville content in the past. I have lots of videos, hundreds of them. And I got a little email from YouTube basically saying that I haven't done anything in a while and I've somehow fallen below a certain threshold and I should really start creating stuff. And this actually was something I was thinking about doing a quick video on, because I thought it was an interesting little example of manifestation that someone might find useful, people might find useful. It's an everyday example, and you can, in your own life, there's probably so many things. It's kind of like Neville's ladder experiment, right? Like the ladder experiment isn't about getting rich. It's just about proving to you that you have this kind of power. And this sort of thing is a reminder. It's like my consciousness reminding myself, hey, this is manifestation. It happens every day, or it can happen every day, and it can be the most mundane things, and you need to respect that and be grateful for it for what it is, how much power you really have. Whether it's a big thing or a small thing, it's still on a cosmic scale. Consciousness is a powerful, powerful thing. And, I just thought that'd be useful for you to hear, and also useful for me to create a piece of content here and maybe kick off creating some more in the near future. So I hope you appreciated that. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time. Thank you.